Oceana. I played for Bermudan Frogs first season, and I'm playing for Prosor and the four Amigos this season. Playing 5 is Alien Man Banana, or A and B. Playing 4 is me, Oceana. Playing 3 is Smash. Playing 2 is Stars, and playing 1 is Nikita. I wasn't really planning on even playing necessarily, and then I don't know, Stars just messaged me and was like, hey, I want to play in Indie Season 2, and I'm playing with Smash, and I was like, oh, you're playing with Smash, okay. So about a week or so before the league, we got together and played a couple scrims, and after Smash, I was kind of the first guy he asked. He definitely did all the muscle work in terms of getting everybody together, but he still talked to me quite a bit during it, and was like, hey, what do you think? And there's a couple guys he suggested. I was like, no, let's not do that. And so, I kind of had veto power on who was coming on or whatever, I guess. I mean, I didn't know Smash really personally before this. I played in pubs quite a bit. I knew Stars a little bit, I guess, because Smash would play on like these weekend tournaments or whatever, and he'd play with like a bunch of 5 or 4Ks, is what he tells me. And so I guess 5 or 4Ks, Stars, about the same thing. So I guess he played with Stars quite a bit in those. So that's kind of how we had the connection there. AMB, then I know of him. I've played against him in a lot of scrims, like especially last season. Before the first NADCL, I know I played versus his team on my old team probably like at least 10 or 20 times in scrims, and I already had him friended before this and stuff. So and then Nikita, I know played with Henry, Raw Dota a little bit, so I played with him as well. And then, of course, I played with Stars, and I've pretty much played versus everyone on my team, more or less. I've never really played with any of them, but I've played versus them, and I know of them pretty extensively. Oh, I mean, obviously Smash doesn't speak any English, really. So So it actually works out really well, because even though he doesn't speak any English, like he literally has his manager. Like whenever we want to talk about games or whatever, he has to translate like through his manager after games and stuff. So like during games, he doesn't really talk much, and he knows a bit of English. Like obviously some of the Dota terms he knows, like it's not completely terrible, but it's not really that bad. I think we haven't really had any problems with it, like very few, if any. Part of that is just because I don't talk much in lane, really, and that's kind of when a lot of communication comes up. And I lane with him, so it actually works out kind of okay, because I prefer to not lane with people that talk all the time, necessarily. So, like, he just, like, respects me, and, like, he doesn't really say much about what I'm supposed to do, and I don't really say much about what he's supposed to do, and we just play, and it works, and we know what we're doing. But from that aspect, it goes really well. And then just in terms of the rest of the game, sometimes there's, like, maybe 1 or 2 times, I think, where we've been a little bit disconnected, but generally speaking, he kind of knows what to do in fights, and he kind of knows what to do in the game. When you want to smoke, he obviously gets that, right? Like, he gets some of the smaller terms in English or whatever. So it really hasn't been that much of a problem. We type to him, like small phrases. It's like we want to smoke jungle, or like we want to play here, and we'll like circle that part of the map, right? And like stuff like that. Yeah. We've tried to speak a little bit of Spanish in games. We're working on it. Only he's trying to learn English himself, actually, which is part of the reasons why he really wanted to play this league with us. Was like, because like he wanted to be around people that speak English all the time, right? Because that's like the best way to learn or whatever. So I think the team we had to face last season was way harder to get in. But on the flip side, I think we played way more. Like on that team, we scrimmed for like 3 weeks before an ADCL. We like scrimmed way more than any other team, right? So we have way more preparation. Whereas on this team, we kind of just threw out a guy last minute and maybe played like 2 scrims for this. But the team we were facing, I wouldn't consider them nearly as strong as the team we played the previous season. The first one was the first qualifier, right? It's like it was a new experience, so there's like a little bit more uncertainty and familiarity. So I think the first one was probably more difficult for me personally. Like I got a lot of experience in competitive Dota, like just in the last like month or so, and like I already like right now I feel like much more confidence in like what I know and what I'm supposed to do, and like I feel much more confident in like the captain role in particular, because like on the other team I kind of like intern captained for Kevin or whatever. Like I did a bit of the talking, but like Kevin kind of like was the loud voice, and now I've sort of learned how to be a bit more sort of in like captain well. So I feel like that made things a lot easier for this qualifier. I felt like I knew what I was doing as a captain a lot more. Playing in the league was really, really, really good. I think I learned a lot. And then having like a couple weeks to a month in between kind of gave me that time to like took what I learned from the league and stuff that I needed to improve my own game on, and then I went and did that the last month, right? So like I learned a lot and improved a lot in the league, but then there was stuff that I needed to do individually to get better and learn as well. that I couldn't do, I needed to do on my own. And so I had like a month or so to do that afterwards. I think people thought I was a pretty good drafter this season. So, I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty decent drafter. I understand the concepts pretty well. So it's deep, but it's not deep. It's one of those things, it's like it's simple, but it's not simple, right? And it kind of depends. You get to choose like how simple it is. And so I guess part of being a good drafter is also understanding who you're playing with. If you don't know who you're playing with, you're going to go with something really simple. But like if you know who you're playing with, you can get a lot deeper in drafting. And so like it's not like you can play with a guy like PPD who's like, a legend at drafting or whatever. But if you put him with a bunch of 5Ks, he's not going to be a legend at drafting. It's not going to look like that in the game because he's going to have to simplify his draft. So it depends a lot with who you're playing with as well, I think. Almost more so than how you draft to begin with. You find like the best 4 heroes for each guy. You play a couple of scrims, you see a hero, maybe like, okay, we don't want to play a hero because we didn't win with it at all, right? Just like basic stuff like that. It may not even be bad. You may have had bad games. It doesn't even matter, right? You just pick heroes that you've seen success with and that you know that people can play on their own and play to a high level. Like a lot of times that's like a winning draft and like the key to winning drafts, And it's not until you really know like who you're playing with and you gotta get like a lot deeper with your team before you can get a lot deeper in the draft. I think the atmosphere on the team is a little different for sure. Like everybody on Frogs kind of like to talk. We're all pretty big talkers, as you know. When they see it, so they said we're the most toxic team or whatnot. I don't blame them for it. We talked a lot, certainly. And on this team, it's not just Smash who doesn't talk. Nikita isn't really a big talker either. And I think Smash, Stars, he talks a little bit, but I think he also understands he's kind of inexperienced in this realm. So I think he more often than not kind of keeps quiet and focuses on his own game. So it's really just me, and then AMB talks a little bit too, because when you're on 5, it's pretty inevitable to you're gonna talk a little bit on 5, no matter how out of place or what have you feel, just because it's the nature of the role a little bit. But it's like much more centralized in terms of like who's doing what. Like I feel like I'm moving the team like way more than I did on Frogs. Frogs, I was like a piece of the team, but here I actually feel much more in control, I guess you could say. None of us had ever played in a competitive environment very seriously before, but we had such a low competitive environment like feel. It was only natural that like we were gonna exponentially get really better at the competitive, like faster than it may look, just because of the fact that our competitive experience was so low, like more low than it should be, right? So like to compensate, we kind of got really better in the competitive aspect a lot faster, just by nature of like our natural skill in pubs and whatnot, right? So I think it was more effect that we were really, really bad at competitive Dota, so that's why it looked like we got way, way, way better, right? Thanks.